Hello, denizens of the internet. Today I want to talk to you about the latest Emmy nominations and how it's a lens on the sorry state of network TV, which was my background and for which I still have a soft spot in my heart. I've been doing a series on TV Guide's fall preview issues, which I'm sure many of you are aware. It's amazing how important network TV was in many of our lives for such an incredibly long stretch, and poof, it seemed to have become irrelevant as of 2010. And I put it to you that this writer's strike has affected us less than the last one in 2008 precisely because we cared about our TV shows and missed them when they were gone. Yes, the Emmy list came out in July. Just pretend you came late to this video, okay? First of all, let's go through the nominees. You will quickly see a trend that does not need my interpretation. Under Best Drama, we have Andor, Disney+, Better Call Saul, AMC, The Crown, Netflix, House of the Dragon, HBO, The Last of Us, HBO, Succession, HBO, The White Lotus, HBO, Yellow Jackets, Showtime. Over to Best TV Comedy Series, we have Abbott Elementary, ABC, Barry, HBO, The Bear, Hulu, Jury Duty, Amazon Prime, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Amazon Prime, Only Murders in the Building, Hulu, Ted Lasso, Apple TV Plus, Wednesday, Netflix. No surprise to anyone that there is only one network TV show nominated in the list, the excellent Abbott Elementary on ABC, though I think its first year was better than the second. This is nothing new. Cable shows have been dominating the Emmys for what seemed like years, and now the streamers are muscling in on the action. At least the networks have America Ninja Warriors. HBO first came on nascent cable TV back in 1972. It started modestly with sports, World Championship boxing, Wimbledon, tennis, and then variety programming, Martha's Attic, On Location, Standing Room Only, docuseries, Time Was, Yesteryear, America Undercover, children's programming, Fraggle Rock, storybook musicals, etc. On one hand, HBO was programming shows the TV networks were not, but on the other hand, it was programming TV shows the networks could but chose not to. Then came Showtime, ESPN, etc. The Trojan horse was cable technology. It brought terrestrial TV into more homes and with better quality, but it allowed all those pay TV interlopers into people's homes also. It caused Grant Tinker, then chairman of NBC back in the 80s, to declare the problem with TV was that there was too much of it. Glad we don't have that problem any longer. What stopped the networks from emulating the successes of the cable channels? What stopped a network from buying any of the cable channels at the time? Now, it's a tangled mess that I'm not going to untangle, featuring Comcast, Warner Discovery, Paramount Global, and Disney. Suffice it to say that I'm not seeing much in the way of useful synergy within their respective network, cable, streaming, social media properties anyway. That's what I'm just not getting. It's as if all this technology was a shocking surprise to the established networks. How come Google bought YouTube and not ABC, CBS, NBC, or Fox? It's because Hollywood saw YouTube as a technology play and a nuisance with which they were constantly playing whack-a-mole trying to stop content creators from uploading pirated content. Ironically, this was the way studios initially viewed beta and VHS. In fact, these studios sued Sony to stop it from duplicating content until the studios realized that tape was a trillion-dollar ancillary market that literally saved Hollywood. I'm not sure Google exactly saw the future, but it did understand storing megabytes of data on servers. I could Imagine the hilarious conversation one would have had about megabytes, bandwidth, and servers with an NBC executive back in 2005. Not entirely sure they would understand it now. Because of my relationship with Apple back then, I was shown an early version of QuickTime video playback from a hard drive back in 1999, before it was released in 1991 and before the internet. There it was, 1 inch by 1 inch, 10 frame a second video glory. By the time it was released, it could play back at 320 by 240 pixel, a tad below HD and 4K we enjoy now. I went to the tech people at the CBC, showed them a demo, and said that we should be digitizing all the CBC shows so one day they would be available on CDs. Let's just say I was a bit ahead of my time, and the IT department thought I was nuts. Even in the 90s, TV networks were in decline. In the aughts, it got worse as Netflix turned its focus from mail-order DVD rentals to streaming over the internet. In 2007, they did their first streaming trial in Canada. Woohoo! In 2010, it stormed to Merca, and in 2012, it made its first original show, Lilyhammer, followed by House of Cards in 2013. The obvious question is, why didn't any of the TV networks start a pure internet streaming service? It's easy to answer. They thought it was dumb. You could get most UHF and VHF channels over the air and cable. The rerun business was very lucrative. DVD sets of favorite shows were flying off of Best Buy and Blockbuster shelves, plus cable companies paid the networks a license fee to include them in their cable bundles. They were losing market share to the specialty cable channels, but ratings were still huge and the cable fees were jelly. I guess it was laziness because the networks stopped making shows people wanted to watch. As less money came in, they moved from expensive scripted shows to reality shows. Sitcoms dried up, with the last big hits being The Big Bang Theory and Modern Family. No more shows like Seinfeld for the networks. Edgy shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm and Arrested Development showed up on cable. And it seemed the networks didn't want to fight back much. Why? Sorry, they did resurrect past successes, Murphy Brown, Will and Grace, and Roseanne, renamed the Connors. Woohoo! If I was to hazard a guess, I would say that the cablers dangled cash in front of the best and the brightest, luring them away from network TV. And as I said before, scripted TV is more expensive than Dancing with the Stars or Survivor. That didn't mean the networks weren't trying. In 2010, new shows included, okay, get this, 101 Ways to Leave a Game Show, Combat Hospital, Detroit 187, Happy Endings, Mr. Sunshine, one of the many Matthew Perry failures, No Ordinary Family, The Whole Truth, Shit My Dad Says, that starred William Shatner, Blue Bloods, Chaos, Criminal Minds, Suspect Behavior, The Defenders, Hawaii Five-0, Mike and Molly, Lone Star, Raising Hope, Traffic Light, The Cape, Chase, Friends with Benefits, Harry's Law, Love Bites, Love in the Wild, Outsourced, which was shockingly horrible, The Paul Reiser Show, Perfect Couples, Undercovers, to name a few. Not many of those barn burners stuck around, and those that did were less memorable than the Emmy-nominated shows I just mentioned earlier. Why didn't the nominated shows end up on the networks? I'll bet most, if not all of them, were pitched to every network, every cable gatekeeper, every streamer. The reason for turning down a show far outnumbers the reasons for greenlighting one, which I discussed in a previous video. But it still begs the question, what happened? All of the cable and streaming shows are short run, but were they initially pitched that way? Could Ted Lasso maintain a 24-episode run? How about Barry, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Wednesday? Most of the creators of these shows had network experience. Let's talk about synergy. Paramount owns CBS and Disney owns ABC. So far, the most daring thing both have done is Paramount put the first episode of that wretched Star Trek Discovery on CBS, and Disney, in desperation, put its failed Disney Plus series, Miss Marvel, on ABC. NBC hired YouTube megastar Lily Singh for a late-night talk show and discovered she was utterly talentless. There you go. These clowns have access to literally everything, and this was the best they could do. And apart from actors and producers complaining on TikTok how terribly hateful the audiences are, that seems to be the sum total of their synergizing. There are YouTubers who get millions more views than the flaccid clips the networks excrete onto YouTube. And this is what I just don't get. It's as if the networks have ceded the innovative shows to the technologically adept and us morons on YouTube, and are thankful that there are at least laxative and adult diaper advertisers left to support the ever-shrinking network audiences that remain. Most people I talk to don't watch network TV. They watch a lot of YouTube. The share of Americans who watch television via cable has dropped from 76% in 2015 to 56% in 2021. Cable TV subscribers have dropped from 98.7 million in 2016 to 72.2 million in 2023. In 2022, 82% of U.S. adults claimed streaming internet TV was more entertaining than cable. CBC attracts less than 2% of the Canadian population. And while the surreal Ben Stiller show Severance on Apple TV Plus would be of a little interest to the networks, the streamers are gobbling up the long-running shows networks are famous for. The Office was a monster on Netflix, and now it's on Peacock. 9 seasons of Suits are now on Netflix and killing it. Friends is huge. It seems only the networks know how to produce 24 episodes a year over multiple years. Netflix has found that 2 years of a in-house short-run series like Daredevil is pretty much all the viewers wanted to see before tuning out. I don't understand. But give them 180 episodes of Seinfeld to binge and it's gold. HBO and AMC might be exceptions. YouTube itself tried to compete with Netflix with its failed subscription YouTube Red service, commissioning hundreds of millions of dollars worth of shows and specials, out of which only Cobra Kai survived. It seems YouTube is only good at one thing, being YouTube. And in that regard, it's brilliant. The networks are circling the wagon around their remaining diminishing audience. There are too many streamers. The all-you-can-watch monthly fee is an unsustainable model. If I was running a network, I would start broadcasting live on YouTube and make everything available for rewatching later. ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox apps on streaming devices all suck because they demand a cable subscription. Just stream it on YouTube, guys. The first network to do that will be huge. Yes, I'm sure it will piss off the cable companies. Perhaps it's contractually not possible. Who cares? You'll also be at the mercy of all the ravenous YouTube critics, but with the upside that people will have actually heard of your shows, because no one watches Entertainment Tonight anymore. And the tubers want desperately to talk about more than just gender-swapped Star Wars characters. But they won't talk about your shows unless it's available to their audience. I tell people all about how good Abbott Elementary is, and they've never heard of it. That's it for me. Thanks for sticking around to the end. My videos are usually not this long, and I've barely scratched the surface of this topic. I look forward to your comments. Till next time, denizens, be seeing you.